Just kind of keeping us on our heels all night long from a execution perspective, made it really hard for us to find clean looks. And I think that was part of the story. We just really couldn't get a rhythm on the offensive side, and credit them with kind of contributing to that in a major way.
Coach, you guys had 19 turnovers tonight. You just spoke about how NKU was defensively holding back. Were those turnovers due to their defense, or maybe lack on some possessions, lack of mentality there?
Yeah, the turnovers were we seemed uncomfortable at times with the decisions that we needed to make. We seemed off balance at times. We just didn't see the game very clearly. And that's the frustration, is like you're in those moments, and you got to be able to get the ball to the right place, and there's a small window of time that you can kind of attack and create advantage, and we weren't able to do that.
Andy, one turnover in particular, the one by Cheeks with about 4 minutes left, the one you literally caught on the sideline. At that point in time, you guys are down by 4. That turnover happens, a couple more in quick succession, and more or less the game's kind of out of reach within about a span of a minute. Does that one stick out in your mind? Do you feel like that was kind of a turning point in the game?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them stick out in my mind. I mean, we just had some foolish ones that I don't know what we were looking at. There's probably some times that you probably we should have just eaten it. We tried to throw 2 post entries from like the hash mark, and I don't know what anybody's looking at. It like kind of nonsensical, and obviously the turnover by Enoch was a big play, because that's where you got to be able to execute, and you got to be able to be on the same page with each other, and we certainly weren't on that play.
And I know you probably want those last 3 minutes over, but defensively, do you feel like it's starting? You're seeing longer periods. It's starting to.
I mean, we've defended well for a majority of the year. I thought there was some matchups that they certainly tried to take advantage of. We got beat on a few back cuts tonight, which is frustrating, because again, every point's going to be so critical, every possession's so critical. You look across the whole Horizon League, and all these games are coming down to such small differences, and we probably had more formula breakdowns today than we've had in the last couple weeks, and that's certainly not advantageous when you're not playing offense very well.
Andy, what was your message to the guys after this one? Obviously, you've won 3 straight heading into tonight. How do you kind of just march on forward and avoid a hangover, so to speak?
Well, I mean, you got to be able to flip it quick, because you only have a day's rest to be able to really kind of get ready for Wright State. I just told them I thought the more aggressive team won. I thought that they put us on our heels, majority of the night, starting from the tip, and even the first play of the game, I think we turned it over and just didn't seem comfortable at all. And when you play against teams that are aggressive, and Northern Kentucky's the #1 defense in the league, you got to have an edge to you. You got to play with an edge. You got to play with a little bit of offensive toughness, where you're not just going to get taken out of whatever's going on. And I thought to start the second half, we played with a little bit of that edge and pace. And then as we started to fatigue a little bit, we weren't able to continue to keep that level of pace and effort as a part of it. But, that's, you're going to have to be able, if you're going to really be in this league competing, you're going to have to be able to kind of execute and do that stuff for long stretches of the game. And, obviously we weren't able to do that tonight.
Coach, coming out of the halftime, you guys were down by 5, and then you go on a quick 5-0 run. What you just said, the end of the game, was your team more fatigued there? Were you disappointed on how the game went on from your team after such a hot start coming out?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we want to win the game. So, and like you're in a 2-possession game late, and I didn't feel like we had great belief that we were going to be able to make the plays or stops, and, Northern Kentucky, they made the plays. So.
And is that a mindset thing? Is that kind of what you're alluding to? It's mental?
Yeah, I mean, it's all mental. I mean, this is all mental. How you prepare yourself, how you're able to make decisions, how you're ready to go and compete and fight, right? It's all everything's mental. It's like there's a mindset you have to have. There's like all these, everybody on every team across the country, they're so physically gifted, and they're so capable and skilled, and all those things that are a part of really good basketball at this point in time. I mean, the guys are bigger, faster, stronger, more skilled than ever before. But the separator is the mental, right? How can you execute your plan? How can you be in the right spot? If someone takes away option A, can you get to option B? If you're not doing what you need to do or things aren't going great for you offensively, can you dig in even more on the defensive side, right? You're going to feel sorry for yourself because it's not coming easy on the offensive side. I thought there was times where, like, we just had some slumped shoulders and some poor body language because it wasn't going smoothly. Well, going into this game, we talked to guys a lot about, hey, like, it's messy sometimes against Northern Kentucky. They don't allow you to just flow from ball reversal to ball reversal to ball reversal. You have to work for it. You got to fight for it, right? And that's a mindset. That's a mindset. And all this stuff is a mindset. And these guys have been, a great group to coach all year long. We had a good practice yesterday. I thought we had a really good practice yesterday. But once we got into the fight and into the fire, we didn't have that same, let's figure this out. Like, I don't care what the challenge is. I don't care how ugly it is. Like, let's just keep trying to figure it out. Let's keep getting stops. Let's keep battling. Let's keep fighting and figure out if we can be 1 point better. And again, that's not a common mindset, I don't think, across the board anymore, right? That's, that used to be, a more, just common belief amongst teams, right? Like, man, we're just going to go and fight and scrap and do whatever and figure it out. And I think now it's much more like, if things aren't necessarily going my way, and then I question, how much effort I want to give. And not that our guys aren't giving effort and haven't given effort all night long, but to beat Northern Kentucky, you might have to give more effort. You can't have some of the breakdowns that we had on the defensive side because maybe you're not thinking about the right stuff, or you're not in the possession you're playing, right? You're in the previous possession, or you're worrying about the next possession, or you're worrying about whatever, right? And I think that there was a little bit of that at certain points tonight where we really needed to dig in and battle. And I didn't feel we had like the same energy from our bench as we usually have had. When we make shots, guys get celebrated. Well, how about celebrating when you get stops? How about celebrating when you get big rebounds? How about celebrating, when it's, the ugliest grind you can imagine, like taking some joy and appreciating that, because those count as wins as well.
Coach, when you talk about mindset, is that where consistency throughout the season can come? And then today might have not been the best game from the past three because you were on a 3-game win streak. Is mindset part of the consistency that comes throughout the season? Yeah,
100%. Whether you win or you lose, you got to be the same person. You got to be consistent in how you perform and prepare every day. And I thought we had good preparation. I don't think it was a preparation thing. I just think, Northern Kentucky provided a lot of resistance, and we didn't want to say, all right, well, let's raise our level and rise to the challenge and figure this thing out. Like, if this is going to be a rock fight, we'll win a rock fight. Again, you got to be able to win in multiple ways. You got to be able to figure out what the challenge is on individual nights. And you always got to expect that it's going to be hard. And I don't think you can ever anticipate it's going to be easy. Oh, this is going to be easy. I mean, you look at throw records out the window and you look at scores, across the country every single night. And if you didn't know people's records, you wouldn't necessarily know who's going to win or lose. 2-possession games, 1-possession games, 3-possession games. Like, there's no blowouts in this. Every game is so hard to win, and you got to prepare yourself for the hard each and every time.
What's going to take to, you talk mindset, like what's going to take to instill that mindset within your guys? Like, obviously you guys have been in these tight games throughout the season, but, is it just, getting back up and really just, focusing on that next game?
Yeah, learn from this, right? We'll break down the film. We'll talk about the breakdowns that we had, and then we got to, learn from it, wash it, and get ready for Wright State, because we know their history, their tradition, their capability. They got some really good players. They got off to a slow start, but now they're playing very, very good basketball. So, we got our hands full on Saturday night as well. And if we're going to be feeling sorry for ourselves about tonight, we're not going to have a whole lot of success then either.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.